I know it's a little bit of a sticky situation when we're talking about exchanging time for value with patients, but how come a lot of schools across the country advertise that they have, or even universities, when they have smaller class sizes, meaning there's, one teacher for every 15 students or one teacher for every 25 students. A lot of them will advertise the class sizes. Why is that?
All right, what do you guys want to talk about next? You want to talk about this cruise?
Sure.
All right, so Dave, this is your story or the thing that you shared. Do you remember what I'm talking about?
Yes, there was a Parkinson's cruise. I know we talked about it before. We don't need to go too deep into it because we had mentioned different types of events. It could be cruises. It could be kind of like condition specific. I saw this on, I don't know, I think I was targeted on Facebook or so. I don't know if it was, I don't think it was an ad, but I don't know, maybe some other therapist was sharing it. I'm not really sure, but the pricing is very transparent.
Yep.
And what you're highlighting is kind of like the things that they get. And, it's just some of maybe it's not formal physical therapy. It might be wellness. It might be, whatever like version of like boxing or, rock steady boxing or, whatever type of movements and all that. But it does post the pricing as the cheapest is if you have a room on the cruise that's like on the inner part, so meaning like no windows,
$25
or some windows and
that's for better view. Divide that by 2 because that's for 2 people. It's saying so that's it's $1,200 a pop.
So it's not bad. And then of course it's a little more expensive, which is like it's like 2x or something for like the veranda, which is a little bit more of an upsell or another offer. But I love the different pricing. I love that they're mixing in wellness and some other options for folks that are living with Parkinson's. And like you said, the spouse can come if they have a spouse, assuming they still have a spouse. And if not, maybe there's some, maybe it's half or maybe some discounted price or something if you were coming solo. But I think it's genius. We talked about it before, but here's the thing is like other companies, other people are doing this stuff. Like this literally could be, I don't know how much.
Do it.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know how much money and organization, all that, like a physical therapy practice would need to have. Like maybe you could pull multiple physical therapy practices together that are colleagues and, do this type of an offer. But yeah, I mean, I just thought it was interesting and caught my eye. I wanted to share it with you guys and see if you have any thoughts.
So cruise lines, I didn't know about this, but when I was in radio, it helped me come into a lot of other industries. There's a lot of cruise lines and people, like someone just owns a ship and they've got a boat out. It's like owning a limo. It's like, it's really cool, except if you have no one to drive around, it's just a big annoying thing. So Coors Light or Bud Light, they would rent out like this cruise ship company. Like they weren't huge, like Viking or whatever. And they'd be like, okay, Bud Light would run out these cruise ships for like 3 days, and then they'd go around to all the radio stations they bought ads with nationally and do a month-long contest, getting a month of attention on every one of these radio stations to win your way on the Dave Matthews Cruise to Nowhere, whatever. And it literally would be like you'd get on in Florida and you'd cruise to some island, private island, I don't know, where there'd be like a band. So like that wouldn't make sense if you were doing it in one market, but they would do it nationally. What I'm getting at is cruise ships are for rent. And you can sit down and do the math. So if you were like APTA neuro, could you imagine? How would you fund your cruise? It's like, well, number one, get all your members or get a lot of members to come. You're going to fill the other half of the boat or 80% of the boat with people who need your help. So each of you is going to teach 2 classes a week or whatever. And then while you're on the boat, teach CEUs. So by the time you get off the boat, your cruise is free or the section made money. You learned something because you brought CEU instructors at night and you taught a few classes because you're kidding me. A neuro PT is going to be on a cruise with a bunch of people with Parkinson's disease and not want to teach a class. You'd have to keep that person. You'd have to cage that person. You would not have to ask that person twice to teach a class or to do something. And how great. Now all the other neuro PTs are watching what this person's doing and watch what, I see. Oh, cool. My class is on Thursday. And I'm telling you, look at the prices for $2,000 a cabin. Dude. And if you want to be sneaky, when the CEUs are on the boat, Now you can use your CEU budget from your hospital job or whatever job, and you're just going to cruise out of it. What? Did we just invent a scam that's actually not a scam? It's a good scam? I think we did. You're welcome. I'll send you your invoice. Feels like a win.
It does. It's a no-brainer, especially for people who love cruises. We did a bunch of cruises before we had kids. We'll do cruises again in the future. It was awesome.
Just don't do a cruise for vestibular patients. Bad idea. Hey, man, way to rain on my good idea. But yes, I think Helena, Esmond, and Patrick would be like, yeah, cruise might not be. Let's do it we'll do it on the salt flats. Very flat, very stable.
Maybe it's the perfect demographic.
Maybe it's the best idea. I don't know.
Helena to movement and the water.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We might.
Everybody has the goggles on and you can assess them while they're on the cruise. Like, have you guys seen those nightclubs with the headphones where nobody...
The silent disco? Yeah. I've been to one of those. It's odd. But then you forget and you're just sort of in the moment. Oh, one thing I wanted to talk about just real quick. So there's a company called Cvent. Essentially, it's like the HubSpot of like event stuff. Like check in, anything you need for like an event, they are the Cadillac of. I went to an event and I had a big QR code on I hate wearing the lanyards with your thing around your neck, but you're supposed to wear them whenever you go to conferences. Huge QR code on both sides. As you walked into the conference, there was, of course, like the balloon arch or welcome to whatever con. And you didn't know it, but your QR code was just being scanned from 100 different directions. So when I hit the balloon arch, the screens were like, welcome, Jimmy. Glad to see you. My picture popped up. You're telling me now we can't just do that with facial recognition? If you walked into your clinic, that person's information is already on file. You don't think that person, what's your name again? No. 3 years from now, that's not going to be a thing, right? Like you're just going to scan someone's face, correct? 2 years from now. All right. Yeah. So let's talk about, Coney, you had a post that I believe I commented, spicy. You asked the question, and I love the responses because they are so predictable. Well, so here's the prompt, and you correct me if I'm wrong. Like, is the physical therapy in your community worth more or less than, I think you said, $100 or $150? And I love the comment. It's like, well, what I'm doing is, but most of it isn't. And I love that response because I look for it. There's always that one.
And so I've shared it before. It's like, okay, everybody wants higher reimbursement. Everybody wants insurance companies to pay more. And I would absolutely agree that people reading my post are worth more than they're getting paid by insurance companies. But the question is everybody worth more? Right. Is even the majority of clinicians worth more? You know, if I went into 1,000 clinics today across the country, across different settings, skilled nursing, inpatient, outpatient, whatever, is what the patient is actually receiving worth what we're being paid now, $100 an hour on average, worth less, worth more, you know? And so and this was a response. I don't know if it was you or somebody else. I think it was you. No, it was Joey Albritton who said, what should APTA be doing? What should APTA's primary focus be? Yes. A bunch of people said more reimbursement. But my thing is, look, we're asking taxpayers to pay for this service. Is the service they're getting right now worth even what we're getting paid right now? Right. Because every therapist I talk to is like, man, this patient came to me and they were getting terrible therapy somewhere else. Yeah. You know, I've never heard a therapist say, yeah, they've got way better therapy down the street than they're getting from me. It's always worse. And so I'm like, so is it even worth it? Like, is it worth the $25 a unit for what people are getting? I don't know. I don't know.
In the current model where there's a lot more volume, and that is the world we're living in, that's been continually year after year getting crunched and squeezed and compressed. No, it's not worth it in that model. But that's how therapists were trained. That's when therapists, myself, I'll talk about myself. When I shadowed at one of the NovaCare locations in South Philadelphia. When I was in school and there was a potential job there at this, not the NovaCare complex where the Eagles practice, but there's an outpatient office nearby. And I shadowed and I was like, oh my God, no way. This is insane. Like, too many patients per hour for each therapist. It was crazy. It was like a long rectangle. There's no way the therapists were, I was standing on the wall, literally shadowing, and the therapists were not with all their patients all at the same time. It's impossible. And I was like, well, so this is definitely not for me. Then I found a job that was 2-3 patients booked per hour and then some cancel or no show or whatever. So it wasn't that busy all the time. So that I think has a higher value or could garner a higher value dollar amount whenever the therapist either has more time with you, and that doesn't mean hands-on. It could just be more counseling, more guidance, more feedback, cues, whatever. So to answer your question, it's the current model of like stacking and overbooking patients. Now, if there was, I don't know, if there were way more locations and way more availability for patients and the patients went in and they got more time with their therapist, then I think across the country, there could potentially be more of an argument of we're really underpaid because we're providing all this value or this guidance or these programs, these remote programs or whatever it is. Does that make sense, Tony?
Yeah.
It makes sense. I understand what you're saying. Ben said worth more to who? The payer or the patient? If we're getting paid by the payer, I'm talking what's it worth to the payer. Mm-hmm. The patient has no say in this because they are not the ones paying the bill. They can go to the payer. They paid the payer to pay the bill. They can battle with the payer. In this scenario, I'm saying what I am delivering is what's it worth to the payer. To Dave's point, though, we got to be careful about putting together time with the therapist and value or worth. When we were in PT school, we had 20, 30 kids in a class. We were paying $100,000, $150,000. We weren't getting one-on-one tutoring. We weren't getting dedicated hours with the professor. But we all got licensed. We all got the outcome that we were paying for. What were you going to say?
I know it's a little bit of a sticky situation when we're talking about exchanging time for value with patients, but how come a lot of schools across the country advertise that they have, or even universities, when they have smaller class sizes, meaning there's, one teacher for every 15 students or one teacher for every 25 students, charter schools, universities, high schools, and Tony, you know this better than I do because you have kids in school. A lot of them will advertise the class sizes. Why is that?
I'm special.
There's a perception that a smaller class size means more education, better outcome.
But in general, wouldn't there be more attention on your particular son or your twins or one of your kids if they, on average, grew up in a class size of 15 students compared to 30? Wouldn't they get more time with the teacher? Wouldn't they get more accountability? Wouldn't they get more feedback? Wouldn't they get more instruction, a little bit more one-on-one time, all that potentially over the years?
100%. Here's the thing. There's public school paid by tax dollars. There's private school, typically more expensive, paid by consumers who value that, who want that. So it's just like this. Like Medicare is public school. What you do is private school. If I want a better experience, if I want a better educator, if I want to connect and more time, I'm going to pay for it. But if what I get in public school is good enough and I'm already paying my taxes and I feel like that's a value exchange that I'm comfortable with, I'm just going to put my kids in public school.
Yeah.
But we have the choice to do either or. My kids go to private school. One kid goes to public school. Public school was a better fit for him based on what he wanted to do. So, there is no simple answer, but 100%. One-on-one, more expensive. Groups, less expensive.
Yep.
Payers pay less.
Yeah.
Clients pay more.
If you're going to go backstage at a concert to meet the band, it's different than if you're one of 30,000 people in the audience. Like there's a different experience. Ben's got a great comment here. It's probably worth another session. He's right. The value of PT can't be measured against PT. You have to measure it against the alternative if unchecked. I think I know what he's talking about. This is what I've said to going back to our first conversation, which is like, I'm explaining to APTA sections, academies, and state chapters, your competition is not other academies and sections. Your competition is Netflix, MedBridge, physicaltherapy.com, every other thing that can take attention that is delivering what you say you're doing. And if you're not, I'm just going to go somewhere else. So I think what Ben is saying is like, you can't value the PT isn't measured against other PT as much as it may or may not be. It has to be measured against the alternative. It's the Hinge, it's the Sword, it's the I'll just chat GPT my stuff. It's Tonal, right?
So it's so easy to compete against Sword and Hinge. I mean, come on, it's laughable. I thought Ben was. I love Ben. Thank you for joining in live. Thank you for commenting and engaging. We love your participation. I thought Ben was going to say compared to the alternative treatments, right? So like acupuncture or massage. Or
everything. Yeah, everything. That's the thing. I'm like, I'm telling you, this was the turning point moment. I was driving home from the radio station. Someone texted me a link. Why is that weird? It wasn't a thing then. It was the first time I was ever texted a link. And I clicked the link on my flip phone or whatever it was. And then I could hear a radio station in LA. And then and I was in Pennsylvania, a local radio station in LA. I was a local radio station in Pennsylvania. And I was like, now I got to compete with these people too. Like I was just trying to be the coolest out of 5 radio stations in this part of the world. Now I need to be the coolest in the world. That's when I was like, I'm going to go to law school I'm going to do something. It's too much. But now, number one, the reverse is true. Everyone's got to compete with you, but you don't need 1 million people to love you. You could have a really strong 1,000 people love you. If 1,000 people give you $1,000, that's some sort of amount of money.
David said, first thing potential patients do is they work on YouTube for self-care.
Sure.
And I think that's awesome. I never understood the medical doctor, the physical therapist, whoever who's like, don't Google your condition. That's ridiculous. Like, yes, educate yourself on your condition, see what it says out there, come in as an informed consumer, and then we'll refine what you found to apply it to you together. But yeah, like everybody should go straight to YouTube first, see what YouTube says, and then go deeper if you need to.
That's a flag. If you got to tell 100 people not to Google their thing, why aren't you creating the thing that comes up first on Google already? They told you where they're going and you ignored them.
Well, and that's what Tony's doing. That's what he's saying.
And you said, don't do it, which makes me want to do it more.
Get Mo?
Get Mo.
Do Mo? You trying to do Mo? Get Mo?
I need to have a button where this just get Mo.
Get Mo. Get Mo
purple. Get Mo green. Get Mo Instagram me.
Really quick. All right, go ahead. Yeah,
go ahead.
No, because I was going to take us off topic.
Okay, real quick. Ben was just saying it is the quote, I went to urgent care for a mild ankle sprain. And it's the quote, I went to the ortho for a mild ankle sprain and got an injection and an MRI. Yeah, like you go to the ortho, you if your only tool is a hammer, everything's a nail. You go to the ortho, you're going to get it all. You go to urgent care, you're going to get the minimum. You go on YouTube, you're going to see what somebody else said. You call a PT. Like, even between Dave and I guarantee if the same person called Dave, the same person called me, same condition, I'm going to be like, probably no big deal. Give it a couple weeks. You'll probably be fine. You call Dave, he's going to come up with more in-depth analysis and solutions and information and what he can do.
I might ask, what's your credit card number?
The difference is I'm looking
I'm kidding.
That's right. So to me, it's just like, let nature take its course.
But what Dave sells is, I'll be there in 10 minutes or I'll be there tomorrow so I can tell you, because that's what you want. You want to know. Like,
if you want certainty, it's not every consumer.
Right. I mean, shoot, I remember when I was swim coaching during PT school, like for like a kid's swim team. And like, I didn't understand this until someone had to nudge me. But like, I had a parent call me, like, can you come over? It was one of my swimmers, but it was the off season. And they texted me, can you come over and take a look at this kid's knee? Because she's in basketball. And I was a PT student. And I was like, why are you calling me? And he's like, aren't you going to be a PT? And I was like, oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, got it. And then I came over an assessment and I was like, no, I think she's good and whatever. And he's like, all right. And then he just handed me a bunch of money, and it was probably illegal or whatever. I don't know. But I was like, why pay me? And he was like, because I just wanted to know if she should play or not tomorrow. And I was like, oh yeah, this is what I'm going to school for. Like, you're going to do this. But it wasn't like that because I was like, I don't work at a clinic, therefore I can't see you. And they were like, we just want, you know more than us. Not infinitely more. You're not the smartest guy on the planet. You're the smartest guy in my phone, though. So I want you to look at it because I don't know how to YouTube that and assess. But apparently you went to a few classes, so you will. And that was the moment I was like, well, yeah, this is valuable. Like, yeah, Ben, her versus injured. Can she go or not? And I was like, cleared for launch, Chief. He's like, great, here's $50. Go buy yourself something nice.
Dave, where'd you want to take the combo?
Let's go.
Yeah, really, really quick. I sent a screenshot back from 2018 in the chat.
Yeah, I've got it.
This was from Fiverr. I'm going back on Fiverr because I'm trying to get vector art for my logo so that I can use it for signs and printing and all that. This is May 27th of 2018. They were this designer was trying to sell me a logo for $35, or a premium package of $80. And then I said, and I know it says Angela, and then it says Nafisa. I don't know. I guess they changed their name on Fiverr. But I said, Anthony Maritato mentioned that he paid $6 for his logos. However, I definitely want something professional, not cheap. So what's the difference between your basic and standard packages? I just wanted to give a shout out to Tony because he's been helping me. He's been helping out other therapists for years. And this was when I was trying to get my concierge pain relief logo printed for the first time. And I always forget like when I started my practice. Like I don't remember exactly when.
Was it 18?
But it was 2018. So around that time, I had already registered conciergepainrelief.com. And this is when I was looking for help to get a logo. So you gotta love word of mouth referrals. And then when they try to sell you something way more than what the person, Tony in this case, spent, I'm like, man, I'm just trying to get that $6 logo that Tony Maritato got, man.
Although, like,
man,
a $6 logo.
Like, ask Tony that if he's here. What?
Was it? At that time, I was buying so many logos for random projects. I was throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. Like, I have no idea. It didn't matter.
There was no Canva. Probably, right? There was no Canva then.
Canva was around. Canva wasn't around. I didn't want to put the mental energy into thinking of a design. I just give me something to put up there because it does not matter. You just launch.
Correct. That's what I did. And even if you launch and then you say the name, I don't know if you heard me, Tony, I launched with Ignite Lab Media and I was like, I love it. I'm like, no, it's set a fire. Look how deep I am. And then I said the name for a week and I was like, I don't like it. Yeah. And then someone else was like, it's not you. And I'm like, shoot, what am I supposed to do? I told the world. And then I was like, well, would I tell someone else? So I was change the name and just get Mo. Sorry, I'm just going to yell it out every once in a while. All right, we've got 4.5 minutes. Do we want to just do parting shots? We've probably not enough time to get into anything else.
Yeah, let's say parting shots. I think the theme from today is there is a difference between worth and value. We have to understand that difference. What is the difference between worth and value? Something can be worth an infinite amount of money, but the value of it to a purchaser can be very low. So this goes back to, look, real quick, the Starbucks, the strike that's going on with Starbucks right now, the craziness from the New York future mayor of coming out against the Starbucks corporation is blowing my mind. But with that being said, is Starbucks paying for the job that needs to be done, or is Starbucks paying for the human who is doing the job? We're paying for the job. The job is sweeping the floors and making coffee. That's what I'm going to pay for. If you don't want to do the job, so go get another job. I will find somebody else who will do that job. The job is not worth $40 an hour. It's value and worth. Look up the definition and understand the difference between those two words.
Well, this was someone else too, and I sort of poked the bear. They're like, we should as a profession strike. And I'm like, well, good luck getting 5 people. Good luck getting 3 people to show up on a live stream at the exact same time every week. That's hard. You're going to tell me you're going to organize a nationwide strike with a bunch of people who are not organized at all. And also, who's going to care? Patients are going to care. PTs are going to care because they're not going to get paid. You think the insurance company is going to really kill you? Like, hey, great, sweet, saving $1 billion a day, not paying on these things. So this is worth, value, and cost. Cost is what I say it's worth. Value is what you're sitting there and you got the money and I'm trying to make sure I don't want to undervalue, but if I overvalue it, I get $0.
Dave?
Tony for president.
Tony for president. Yeah, no, I like, I'll just double click on Tony. I like the worth versus value. Always something that's, I think for me, evolving and trying to keep an open mind with some of the feedback of like, here's what I perceive, here's what I believe, and then I throw it out to you guys, I throw it out to others. So for me, that's always, I don't want to say it's ever changing, but maybe more evolving as we grow and expand as a practice and a business.
All right, guys, come back and see us.
My parting shot will be, sometimes you need to hear something 4,000 times before you take action. Hear it 4,000 times before you take action.
Hey, it's Dave Kittle. Are you a healthcare business owner or physical therapy practice owner who is looking to figure out your succession plan or exit strategy? We might be able to help. And in fact, we may be interested in acquiring your practice. If you're interested, you can reach out to me. Shoot me an email at dave@conciergepainrelief.com. That's DAVE@CONCIERGE painrelief.com. Or you can call me at any time, 646-781-8884.